Hey folks, my name is Lauren, 33, female. Let me get into this tea because this girl used to bully me, but every time I see her now, she looks down or away. I really ruined this girl's life, but she deserved it. So listen up. So the girl in question is my dear sweet sister-in-law, Paris. Let me tell you something, spoiled doesn't even begin to cover it. You see, I married into a pretty wealthy family, and before you ask me how I did it, I honestly don't know. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming and I have to pinch myself every now and then because jumping from living paycheck to paycheck to essentially never having to worry about money again is a jarring experience. I am so grateful. No, but seriously, I met Ricky through an auction I was working as a waitress at. Turns out that he and his friends would attend some auctions while they're completely drunk, and they buy the worst art at the most ridiculous prices just for fun. Yeah, he's that kind of rich. Anyways, we locked eyes, and for some reason he was interested in me. Me, a damn waitress. Crazy, I know. I kept my guard up, of course. I've seen the movies. I know rich people can be snobby sometimes and they like toying with us poor people because I guess it's fun for them to gloat, but Ricky was genuinely interested in me. Maybe we were soulmates in a past life or something. I certainly wasn't complaining. We started dating, and believe me, meeting his family was a whole experience. Everyone seemed nice on the surface, but Paris, oh boy, she took snobbiness to a whole new level. From the get-go, she made it clear that she didn't think I belonged in their elite little world. She would toss these subtle insults my way during family gatherings, the kind that were wrapped in a smile, so if I retaliated, I'd look like the bad guy. Like, I get it. Your family has more zeros in their bank account than I have in my student loans. But that doesn't mean you get to treat people like they're beneath you, right? Oh, you guys, you won't believe what happened. What? A homeless bum had the audacity to look at me. Can you believe it? Like, they need to teach them not to do that. Don't be such a snob. What's wrong with you? You know what? You're right. I should be used to dealing with bookies now, especially with Lauren around now. When are you going to get tired of your little plaything? Hello, I'm standing right here. Unfortunately. Okay, Paris, enough. Quit being such a pain. You're all just mad at me because I'm being honest. Not my fault you can't accept the fact that you're dating a bum. I'm not a bum. Don't speak to her that way. I swear to God. Whatever. At first, I tried to keep my cool, not wanting to create drama and all, but Paris just kept pushing those buttons, you know? I'd be chatting with someone and she'd swoop in with some backhanded compliment or a snarky remark that left me seething inside. Ricky's other family members were actually really nice and they loved hearing different perspectives since we obviously came from different classes. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some ignorant comments and some microaggressions thrown here and there, but I chalked that up to ignorance and upper-class elitism. It wasn't completely their fault because that's how they were raised. Ricky would try the hardest and he had never made me feel uncomfortable, and I was falling in love with him more and more each day. I tried not to let the ignorant remarks affect me too much. I mean, they were trying, right? But when it came to Paris, now that was a different story. She was doing this for fun, like hunting for sport. She knew what she was doing and she was thrilled every step of the way. She really tried to embarrass me all the time, and both Ricky and I were getting fed up. Turns out it wasn't just us. Everyone in Ricky's family was getting sick and tired of Paris's antics. She'd always been a brat, getting everything she ever wanted because she was the youngest, and Ricky's parents would be annoyed with her and her bullying. The last straw came when she ruined my surprise proposal. Yeah, you heard that right. I got robbed of my surprise proposal that Ricky was organizing because she couldn't keep her big mouth shut. She claimed that it was an accident, that she didn't mean to send me that text detailing everything about the proposal and the after party, but we were all calling BS. Ricky was fuming, and he knows his sister better than anyone, so I think he's a reliable source. If he says that she did it on purpose, then I believe him. I tried to smooth things over, telling Ricky that it was fine and that I would say yes 1,001 times, which helped him calm down a bit, but not enough. He told his parents about it, and they were really angry too. They had been talking about cutting her off, at least for a while, so that she could learn to be an adult. But they had never been more serious about it than in that moment. To everyone's surprise, including my own, I stood up for Paris, telling Ricky and his parents that they didn't need to go that far, and that as much as we didn't believe her, there was no way we could really prove that it was on purpose, so they should go easy on her and give her one last chance. They all commended me for being so kind to someone who was so mean to me, and to this day I don't fully know why I did it. Maybe I was just excited knowing that I was about to marry the love of my life. Paris didn't even know that she was about to be cut off and that I stood up for her, which would tick me off a bit more when she would make her rude comments. But hey, good deeds don't go off unpunished. But hey, I didn't marry her. I married Ricky, and he was worth every eye roll and condescending comment from her. We eventually got hitched, and that's when things went from bad to worse. You know how some in-laws can be a bit much during wedding planning? Paris was a one-woman circus of chaos. She had opinions about everything, from the flowers to the seating arrangement, and let's not even talk about the bridesmaid dresses. I swear, she acted like it was her wedding and not ours. We did our best to ignore her, which wasn't too hard because my wedding was immaculate. Honestly, words couldn't describe how beautiful everything was. I had never seen so many diamonds on a dress before, real ones at that. Everything was just perfect, so Ricky and I and the rest of our guests were having a grand old time. But of course, the other shoe had to drop, and Paris had to do what she did best and ruin everything. She accidentally bumped into the wedding cake, which was like 10 tears and one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen in my life. A handful of people, including myself, saw her fall into it. She literally ruined her dress just so she could cause a commotion. Talk about being a miserable human being. Everyone was groaning and whispering about her messing everything up because everyone who was there was at least aware that Paris was not the greatest person to be around. She wanted all the attention on her all the time, like a child, and it got on everyone's nerves. I couldn't contain it anymore, and I burst into tears and walked off, with Ricky and my bridesmaids going after me to comfort me, leaving Paris behind and receiving an ear lashing from her parents and her uncle, who had graciously paid for the cake. When I had calmed down, we returned to the party, and the festivities were slowly starting up again, and Paris was nowhere to be found. Turns out my mother-in-law and father-in-law had had enough, for real this time, and they cut her off in front of everybody. All of her friends, her cousins, some hot guy she was flirting with at the bar, everybody. Embarrassing. They told her that until she could prove herself to be a decent human being, they wouldn't help her in any way. Which sucks for her, because she was living in their manor because she didn't see a point in moving out. Well, now she had to fend for herself apparently, and she was given until sunset to pack her things and get out and be an adult, since she thought that she could get away with being a nightmare. I thought she was a goner, but to my surprise, she actually had some money of her own. She was smart enough to have some money in her personal bank account, so she bought a pretty big house not too far away from where Ricky and I were living. Strange, but okay. Paris couldn't show her face to us for weeks, feeling humiliated because she thought that Daddy's black card was an irreversible gift, but she got the rude awakening she deserved, or so we thought. You see, even after having that reality check, she was still her sassy and bratty self, acting like she was on top of the world. She obviously didn't apologize, which isn't surprising, but doesn't make it any less disappointing. The insults didn't stop coming my way. Oh no, things actually got worse from that point on, and she would always be an uninvited and unexpected guest in our home, and I was getting sick and tired of it. You don't belong here, you know. You think you got my parents under your thumb, don't you? Well, you got another thing coming. They might be mad at me, but this always happens. They get angry, they threaten to cut me off, and then they go back on their word and take me back in with open arms. I'll admit this is the first time they actually went through with it, but you do realize that I'm the reason this didn't happen to you sooner, right? Oh, here we go. Look at you, thinking you're better than me. What am I supposed to be, thanking you now or something? Allowing me to bow to your highness? Paris, you... And just for the record, in case your dumb brain didn't catch it, I was being sarcastic. I'd never bow to a broke peasant like you. From where I'm standing, looks like you're the broke one, sweetie. Oh, please, even when my parents cut me off, I had more money in my account than you'd ever make in your lifetime if you weren't married to my brother. He's wrong about you, you know, and he's going to see it one day. Don't you have moving boxes to unpack? Whatever. Don't talk to me. Paris would come over, especially when Ricky wouldn't be home, just to taunt me and ridicule me some more. I was starting to see why Ricky and his parents had no sympathy left for her. She was such a rotten lady. I couldn't believe half of the things that would come out of her foul mouth. Of course, I would tell Ricky all of the awful things that she would say to me, and Ricky would just get angrier and angrier, telling the workers not to let her into our compound. But she would always threaten them, and they would let her in, knowing that she is family. This would piss Ricky off even more, often firing the workers in a rage, but he knew just how difficult it was to deal with someone like Paris. She could ruin their lives if she wanted to, so I don't blame them for listening to her. I eventually shut her out completely, ignoring her entirely when she would act that way, and that would get under her skin so bad you have no idea. She thrived off of reactions, always wanting to stir the pot, and I wouldn't give that to her. No siree. Months and months went by, and she stopped coming around as often, thank God. It finally felt like I had some peace of mind, until word on the curb hit that Paris would be moving out of the neighborhood. Yeah, crazy, right? And I had to find this info out from one of Ricky's family members. Ricky didn't even know about it, and he was also relieved, but he wondered why. So one evening we decided to knock on her door and find out. It looked like most of her things were packed and ready to go to her new destination. She wasn't expecting us, and she looked a bit thrown off guard, but quickly plastered on a smile as if to let us know that everything was all right and nothing suspicious was going on. Yeah, right, sure. She was acting a bit sheepish, which was definitely unlike her. After a few beats of awkward chit-chat, Ricky finally addressed the elephant in the room and asked her what was going on. Okay, cut the crap, Riz. Why are you moving? You haven't even been here a year. Oh yeah, well you see, the thing is, I don't like it here anymore. It's too ghetto, and you know me. I live for the finer things in life. I can't continue living here. It's embarrassing. What are you talking about? You said you always loved it here. Yeah? Well, I changed my mind. What's really going on? Are you broke? What? No, of course not. Okay, then tell us. Wow, Paris, how did you blow all that money in just a couple of months? Well, to be fair, I thought Mom and Dad would come back begging for me to move back in with them by now. I spent all my money on clothes and trips to Dubai to meet Chelsea. Are you serious right now? How was I supposed to know that they were being serious? It's not my fault. So now you're moving out? Where are you going? I'm going to live at Stephanie's house. Wow. A roommate, Paris? That's a new low. It is not low. It's classy and stylish. Trust me. It's like a grown-up sleepover. Everyone is doing it, especially after COVID. It's important, you know, sharing a space with someone. Good for your mental health. Right. And you, don't you dare look at me like that. Like you feel sorry for me. But I kind of do. Well, you shouldn't. You should never forget your place. Paris, come on. I'm hosting a garage sale. Garage sale? For what? It's probably for extra cash. It most certainly is not for extra cash. Do you think I'm struggling like you? You must be out of your mind. You wouldn't know anything about it. I think Kendall Jenner did it recently too. Yeah, she did. It's chic and so in right now. Whatever you say. Anyways, I'm having a garage sale tomorrow because I have to leave the day after. So don't bother coming. I guess this is goodbye. What? Why? Because, Lauren, one thing you should get through your thick skull is this. You're nothing without Ricky. Paris, can it right now. And you're too broke to afford even my trash. Do yourself a favor. Don't embarrass yourself or me tomorrow, okay? Think of my garage sale like a block party. Oh, wait. You wouldn't know what that is. Okay, we're leaving now. Good luck with your roommate. Don't call us, ever. I told you she isn't going to be my roommate. I had just about enough of my sister-in-law's BS and the way she was treating me. I couldn't believe the nerve she had. She was literally homeless and she wanted to point fingers at me. The next house she moves into better be made of glass, just to show the world how much of a hypocrite she is. Ricky could tell that I was very angry on our way home, and he was asking me what I was thinking. I didn't want to be honest because the truth sounded terrible, but he was my husband and I loved him, so I started spilling my guts. I told him how badly I wanted revenge. I just wanted to do something that would make her shut up and leave me alone. I know she's your sister, but... No, trust me, I get it. He wasn't used to dealing with her lip all the time, saying that she seemed to have gotten worse when I came into the picture. I told him that I wanted to see her speechless, and he said he was on board with whatever plan I was thinking to get back at her because it had been a long time coming. We spent the rest of the night laughing and planning. The next day was Paris's extravagant garage sale. I had seen her post all over social media about how this garage sale was going to be epic. With all the noise she was making on social media, I thought that we would be able to hear the party garage sale from our own home. But there was nothing, just crickets. Ricky was on his way to work and wished me luck with my plan to get revenge on Paris, so after gussying myself up a bit, I got ready to rain on her parade. I pulled up to the block party, deciding to walk here just so I could enjoy the stroll, and she saw me coming up from a distance. To my surprise, her garage sale was a bust. Only a couple of people were walking around, and she had made her stuff so pricey that a lot of people ended up leaving without buying anything. She turned redder than a tomato and started insulting me like she usually did. But I wasn't having any of it this time, not with my ace up my sleeve. Well, 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 look what the cat dragged in. Or is your epic party turning out to be a dud? What the hell are you doing here? Didn't I tell you not to come? The street is public property, Paris. I can be here if I want to. Besides, I'm here just to admire something. Ha! I knew it. You're just like a moth attracted to shiny things. I knew you couldn't resist coming here and looking at my assets. Oh, no, I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about the house. The house? Why would you want to look at my house? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's not your house anymore now, is it? Okay, and? You literally used to serve tables like a slave, and you want to talk about people owning houses? Have you ever owned a house in your life? I don't think so. I just laughed at her, and she asked me what was so funny. I told her not to hold her breath because just then the moving trucks I had gotten had arrived and were parked on the curb right in front of her house. She was confused, of course, and I pulled out of my pocket a set of keys to the house. Yep, I just bought her house. You see, the night before, when I was plotting my revenge with my man, he told me that I needed to hit her where it hurt if I wanted to shut her up for good, and that's when I suggested I buy her house. I was planning on moving my mom in there because her boyfriend recently passed away, and I wanted to do something nice for her and move her closer to me since she was lonely. Ricky said that was a perfect idea and that he would pay for it ASAP. He got on the phone with some of his friends who work in real estate, and luckily no one had reserved the house, meaning it was up for grabs. He bought it then and there on the phone, and he told me that he would get the keys in the morning and give them to me. I explained all of this to Paris, and her jaw was on the floor like in Johnny Bravo. I couldn't help myself. I just had to laugh at her again. "What's so flipping funny?" "Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I own the beautiful house that you had to give up." "As if you could ever afford this place." "Look at the new lease. Has my name and everything, sweetie." "I can't believe this. How could you humiliate me like this?" "You did this to yourself, Paris. You were such an awful person to me. You should be lucky that this is all I did. Now, if you don't mind, can you please pack this up and get this show on the road? My guys have to move in my mom's stuff, and she'll be arriving in the evening." But I don't have to leave till tomorrow. I told you." "Actually, according to the broker, you should have been out by now, so I can kick you out whenever you want, and I choose right now." Paris was livid. She was so embarrassed. She did exactly what I was hoping and completely shut her trap. She left in a hurry, leaving some of her belongings behind, and I said I would donate them to charity or give them to my mom. Now, it's been about 6 months since that happened, and whenever Paris sees me, whether it's on the streets, at a store, at a family gathering, you name it, she would always dodge me or turn around or look down, a complete 180-degree to her being bold enough to talk all that crazy talk to my face. Funny how the tables turn. Ricky was, of course, over the moon when he heard what went down, and he told me that I should have taken a picture of her jaw on the floor, and I seriously considered it, but I thought that was just rubbing salt in the wound. It felt so good having this authority over her. Now she knows her place. I bet she won't pull that crap ever again. She's still living with her roommate as far as I can tell, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law still haven't budged on cutting her back into the family wealth. So we'll see if she ever learns to change her behavior.